podcast, the Raw Talk, and he talked about how it was just before the Nate Diaz-Jake Paul fight. Didn't he have Nate Diaz on his podcast?
Yeah, he was one of the ones that he was brought up like, oh, but what about a street fight? So everyone's dogging on Bradley Martyn now, saying like, oh, Bradley, what if it was a street fight, Martyn? Or Bradley, I'm 260 though, Martyn. Like everyone's just dogging on him now. It's hilarious.
Welcome back to the Riff Unscripted, episode 26 of the podcast. Hopefully you guys are enjoying your day today. I know I'm enjoying it because in 2 days I'm going to be running. Yeah, so we're actually recording this a little bit early. This podcast should come out on Monday, the Monday after my ultra marathon race. All right, it's first ever one. I'm running 50 miles. 50, which I'm honestly, like, furthest that I've ran before this was my Ironman, which is just a marathon. It's like 27 miles or whatever. And that I did after biking and after swimming. So 50 miles, I don't know why I'm not like worried about it, dude. Like, and I've trained a good amount for this race, probably not as much as I should have, but when you listen to these ultra marathon runners, like I've listened to a bunch of them on podcasts and things, and they don't go out. It's not like you go run 100 miles for training. Like typically the most they run is 20 miles. And so I've ran a 16 mile one of the days. So 16 miles is the furthest I've ran in for this training. And I'm honestly just like ready for the race to start and then just see what happens. Cause this would be my first one. Like I said, the Ironman was my only one previous to this. So I'm curious to see how my body handles it because I don't train specifically for endurance running. Like I train for just the way that I want to look, aesthetics. And then I also train a little bit for endurance, but it's really just for like longevity. It's just so my heart, my cardiovascular system's healthy, so I can perform the way I want to on a day-to-day basis. But also, I kind of want to push myself in like hard, difficult tasks. So that's where the ultras come in. But I'm curious to see like how my body performs and how like me compared to how people train for endurance, how that's going to be. Because, have you seen endurance runners? Like, there's a different body type for sure.
Yeah, it's like the lady we see on the treadmill at the...
Yeah.
Take it back to episode 2.
Bring it back to episode 2.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. Yeah, that lady. Yeah, she may be worse than endurance runners.
Yeah.
But you're right. There's not much muscle because muscle... Yeah, I mean, people say cardio kills gains, and technically it does. Yes, but...
That's why I don't do cardio.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's the thing, is people always use that as an excuse to not do cardio, whereas your cardiovascular system is the most important system in your whole body. It's what keeps your heart pumping, what keeps you alive. So you need that to be performing well. And if you don't do cardio, then it's not going to perform well, which is one of the reasons why you see bodybuilders just dropping dead on the stage, right? Because their cardiovascular system isn't in the right shape it needs to be because they put so much strain on their body. And so endurance runners are the opposite, where they are very their cardiovascular system's insane. And there's actually a city in Sweden, I believe it is, and the whole city like does bike riding. They like love bike riding, and that's what they do. And that population is like one of the oldest populations in the world, because they have good nutrition. They train and exercise with cardiovascular health through biking all the time, and they do like yoga and stretching and that sort of stuff too. So there are people there who are in their 90s and 100s and still like functioning very well. Like they're able to go about their lives and they're 90, 100 years old. That's one spectrum. But the best kind of between the two, you can do that side, or you can do strength building and muscle building. We put all the strain on your muscles where you're strong, but your cardiovascular system's weak. And you can go one of two sides. And there's obviously a bunch of different ways to train, but really the best is that hybrid between both, being an athlete, right? Where you're able to go out and perform, you're able to go for long distances if your body needs to, but you also have strength and your muscles are strong, your bones are strong, and you're able to lift heavy things when you need to, right? It's all around utility where your body's utilizing all the necessary resources that it needs to perform well. Whereas those endurance runners are just like, we're just going to run forever. I don't need to lift anything. And there's a different body type for that. And so I'm curious to see like how that's going to be versus me, where I would say I'm not strength building, but I'm probably more of that utility look almost.
Yeah, it's like, because like me, like I would never want to get into endurance stuff for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But like I want to get into some type of a combat sport, whether it's like boxing or UFC. And like I've never done like actually done it, so I wonder like how my body would like I could have a punch of a mammoth and just don't know it yet. Like I might just be one punch man over here. That's what like same thing with like Bradley Martyn, like he's 260, like all jacked up, and he's like saying how he can beat all these fighters and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
did you hear about all that stuff?
Yeah, dude.
All the I don't know if it's controversy or what, because he has his podcast, The Raw Talk, and he talked about how it was just before the Nate Diaz-Jake Paul fight. Didn't he have Nate Diaz on his podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was one of the ones that he was brought up like, oh, but what about a street fight? So everyone's dogging on Bradley Martyn now, saying like, oh, Bradley, what if it was a street fight, Martyn? Or Bradley, I'm 260 though, Martyn. Like everyone's just dogging on him now. It's hilarious.
No, yeah, and I mean, I don't know. What is your opinion on that? What do you think?
Well, so I think the first time he said something like that was with Devin Haney, if you know who that is. He's a really good boxer, but he's only like, I think he walks around like 150, 160. Okay. And he was on Bradley Martyn's podcast, and they were talking about fighting, like, and Bradley Martyn's like, but what about like a street fight though? Because I'm 260. He's like, in a street fight though, and Devin Haney goes, oh no, I'd kill you. And like Bradley just starts laughing. He's like, oh, I love this guy, like acting like he's being dumb, and everyone's like, you would get your ass beat, which I kind of agreed. I think it just depends on the situation, because that's what
100%.
Because Joe Rogan talked about, and he kind of agreed with Bradley. Like,
it depends on the situation, because it's like if a guy catches someone the wrong way or at the wrong time, like if they're looking one way, boom, you get knocked out. And like even fighters, I mean, everything has to do with a little luck and timing, right? Even if you're the best ever, like they can still get knocked out. They can still get caught the wrong way to where it can take you out. And Bradley Martyn, there's situations when he'll win, and there's probably situations when Devin Haney, that's his name?
Haney.
I don't even know.
It would just depend whether he caught him with his punch first or Bradley Martyn grabbed him first.
Here's the deal. Are you doing one street fight, and that settles it? Or are you doing 10? And the most of the 10 settles it, right? Because then that's when you would know, right?
I mean, you definitely would, but at the same time, I still think it'd be about 50-50. Like, it's see if you're talking Nate Diaz, like he was like, I think Nate Diaz wins that 9 times out of 10 because he knows jiu-jitsu, he knows all this stuff. Like, you can't slam somebody that's very well trained in jiu-jitsu. Like, you can't just pick them up and slam them because they're gonna hold onto your neck, and like in the UFC, you never see people pick people up and slam them, because when they do, you end up getting choked out. Like you might slam them, but they're gonna be locked on your neck.
Yeah, they do like some spider monkey thing. Where
so like whenever you're really well trained, you're not just gonna slam somebody. Like, that's what I don't think Bradley Martyn understands that completely. But with Devin Haney, I don't know if he's just a boxer. He might know some jiu-jitsu, but I doubt as well as other people. Yeah, too. Bradley's talking about fighting Demetrius Johnson now, or Mighty Mouse, if you know who that is. It was the lightest. They actually took the weight class out of the UFC because there wasn't enough fighters. But he has to be like 120, 130 maybe. But he's like, people say he's like the best UFC fighter ever because like how well trained he was and like how good his technique was. And so Bradley Martyn's been talking about him, and he wants to have like he wants to roll with him, do jiu-jitsu with him, and what's his name? Mighty Mouse. He's like a Twitch streamer now because he doesn't fight anymore, and he's like, dude, I'm so down. He's like, and that's what the Joe Rogan said. He said, I don't know, like, if he gets a hold of him, and it's like, he's like, that's 260 pounds of man just slamming you against concrete. Yeah. He's like, but at the same time, if they're rolling, he's like, I think DJ got it. Dimitri, like, he's just gonna with the amount of knowledge he has, he's just gonna roll him every time.
Huh.
But
Well, so I did jiu-jitsu, like the little experience that I had. I did a little bit of jiu-jitsu in college, my junior year, and it was like a club thing, like for a class deal. And I was one of the bigger guys in there. And when you roll, you start in a position, then you try to like learn moves, but then sometimes they just do like free roll. And there's this one kid in there who knew like what he was doing, and he was so skinny, scrawny, but he knew what he was doing. And so we would start rolling. I didn't even know how to choke people out, dude. I just get the bulldog choke, and that's like the only way that I could make people tap.
yeah,
And everything else I didn't know. And so I was rolling with this kid, and he knew more than me, but he wasn't near as strong as me. And so what I found is he would just take his time. Like it wasn't like he wasn't trying to knock me out like that or try and tap me like that. He would just be real slow, and he would just like hold you and think about you. But he couldn't really hold because he would hold my arm, then I'd just like move it, and then it would be okay, next spot.
Yeah.
But then he would get in these positions to where like he could think for a little bit, and then he would think, and he'd switch and he'd try to get me, and then just bulldog out of it, and then he would get on me again. And it just got to where I was just like, there's always so much like endurance that your body has with strength, where you like move out of something and then you're like, okay, good, and then he's back on you, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, because all he's doing is just like getting in his position, whereas I'm like moving and like using all my strength to like push him off of me, and he's back on me. I'm like, dude, and then eventually you're like, you just give up because every time you push him off, then he just gets back on you, and you can't get him in a choke. Like he knows how to defend more than he knew how to do offense, and so there was no like I would just roll with him, and I knew I wasn't gonna choke him out because I couldn't like he knew how to defend it.
like how much do you think that kid weighed?
He's probably 130 pounds.
See, so even that. So like for me, or for Bradley Martyn versus Devin Haney. Devin Haney's like 150, 160 is what he said, and Bradley's 260. So about 100 pounds. So for me, I'm about 270. Like I think if I fought a very well-trained MMA fighter that's 170, 100 pounds less, I wouldn't want to take that fight. I think he's going to fuck me up.
Yeah.
But like for you, I feel like it's different from what like 180?
Yeah.
From 180 to 80 pounds, like 100 pound difference. Like
Yeah, no, it is.
Like I feel like
I'm gonna break him like a twig.
Yeah, you could fuck up an 80 pound guy because like I feel like there's a difference there.
There is. No, I'm with you. I see what you're saying. So you're saying like Brian Shaw versus what? How much Brian Shaw? 400 pounds.
At his peak, Brian Shaw was like 440, 460.
Yeah, 460.
So if he fights an MMA fight 360, he's getting rolled.
Yeah.
But, like,
no, there is a difference. There is where it's like because you do have to have somewhat of some strength, don't you? Like,
well, yeah, because if you're 80 pounds, I could pick up and spin you on my finger. Like,
yeah, exactly.
There's
Like
gotta
palm
be
your head, dude.
But
Just,
then, like, if
move
I
you
would
around.
say, if I fought somebody that's 230, 40 pounds less than me, and then you to fight somebody that's 140, but like very well trained in UFC, I feel like you might have some issues. It's the same thing if you fought that one kid that was 130 or whatever. Like, if you got in a street fight with that kid, do you think you're winning?
I couldn't even choke him out, dude.
Yeah.
I couldn't. And but also, I mean, we started standing up. You start standing up, and that's the thing is like I'm trying to choke this guy. It's not like we're throwing kicks or punches. Like, or if I saw that kid, first thing I'm doing is throwing a punch at him, like in a street fight. But you're trying to roll, so I don't even know. I didn't know how to submit or anything. I don't know. Can you submit standing up? He probably could have, but I would just get him to the ground, and then because all I knew was get him to the ground and then put him around my arm and just like squeeze. It's like all I knew, and so that's what I would try to do, and there's no way. So it's like I'm just going to roll with this guy until he makes me tap out.
The only reason I have like a false sense of confidence in like jiu-jitsu world, even though I've never trained it, is because I don't know if you know who Derek Lewis.
I know.
Derek Lewis.
I know Derek Henry. He's got
Derek Lewis. He's the heavyweight fighter, the one that took off his shorts after the fight, and he's like, Joe Rogan's like, he still had like underwear on. He's like, why'd you take your shorts off? He's like, my balls was hot. Have you never seen that clip?
No.
Yeah, he's like a really popular heavyweight UFC fighter. Yeah, and he did it again. Like just recently, took his shorts off again because like that clip went viral. And everyone, he's like, I saw you took your shorts off. He's like, yeah, my balls was hot. Like he says that every time.
Joe Rogan asked him that?
Yeah, and so this dude, he's like, I bet he's about 250 to 300, around my weight, like somewhere in there. But obviously, he's pretty jacked up. And like when they're rolling other heavyweights, like his size, if not bigger, they're like on top of him, and he just stands up. Like they could have him like in almost like in a submission, and he just like says like fuck it, and like starts rolling, just stands up on his own. They just can't hold him down. And even like the announcers, they're like, oh, they have him like have Derek down. He's like, well, as soon as he wants to get up, he's getting up, and he just stands up with like on top of him. I feel like anybody under 200, I'm just standing up. I don't know, dude. I feel like I've always been the bigger guy in our grades. I don't think it's always been false confidence, but I think as I'm getting older, it's turning into false confidence because like now people are getting more skilled than I am, even though I've always been bigger.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know, like even we saw when we were at the Jake Paul fight, we were at the concession stand, and I look over. And I thought I pictured him. It was Kevin Holland, the UFC fighter. And like, if I didn't know who Kevin Holland was, like if I saw him, like I'm a pretty big guy, I would assume. I think that's a guy thing. Like anytime I see a dude, first I was like,
you size him up.
Who would win in a fight?
Yeah,
first thing. Like
I walk into a building and I size up everyone. I'm like, all right, top dog here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I see him, and like if I didn't know who he was, I'd be like, I bet it'd be a fair fight. I might be able to take him, but. Once I'm like, that's Kevin Holland, I'm like, I'm not getting within 5 feet of that guy if he gives me a dirty look because he would absolutely destroy me.
See, whereas me, I had no clue who the guy was, so I was like, I don't give a shit. Like, let's go talk to him. Let's go figure out what his deal is.
Yeah.
which is kind of a scary thing because that is the thing with jiu-jitsu, especially Brazilian jiu-jitsu is within, the last 50, 100 years or whatever, I guess 50 years. They started incorporating that into fighting, and now like the average person, you could be walking on the street and the amount of Brazilian jiu-jitsu classes that are like just in this area, but in like all of the United States, you'd be walking down the street or at a bar. I've seen a clip before of this kid who was at a bar and he starts getting in a fight. All of a sudden this other one, he knows jiu-jitsu, and he just like they're in a fight in the bathroom and buddy just like easily, without getting a punch or anything, like guy throws a punch, takes him to the ground, dude's done.
Yeah.
Like sleep. He puts him to sleep. And it's like, it's cool to get the clips of like knocking someone out. Like you punch someone, they just boom, glass jaw, done. Like that's cool, but that's like hit or miss. That's timing thing. That's luck, opportunity, whatever it is. Kind of hit or miss. That guy, anytime he gets in a fight, he's putting someone to sleep.
Yeah.
Like the average person. So you could be at a bar and you like pick a fight with some guy. Turns out he knows Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Then next thing you know, you're asleep and there's clips of you just getting your ass kicked.
Yeah.
And the thing is after you're asleep, he can do whatever he wants to you now. Like that's even worse to think about, right? I don't know. It's definitely something that's crazy. But with Bradley Martyn, man, I would think I would watch that fight. Him and Mighty Mouse.
No, yeah, definitely. That's what. I don't know, dude. I think it just depends, like, because he can move some weight, dude. Like, I feel like I could pick up and slam Mighty Mouse. Bradley Martin's 3 times stronger than I am, so he's gonna.
He's a big guy.
I don't know, dude.
Maybe so. I don't know. But what do you guys think? You think that, do you agree with us? Do you think someone who's bigger, smaller, who's gonna win? Right, Bradley Martyn, is he in the right to saying he's going to win? I don't know. Maybe so. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. If you guys enjoyed this video, this podcast, then go ahead, let us know. Hit that like and subscribe button. We're here every Friday, Monday, Friday. Whenever you want to watch us, listen to us, we are going to be here for you. So thank you guys for watching, joining, viewing. We will catch you in the next one. Peace.